Windows Phone Central Podcast, episode 152 for November 30th, 2012. Howdy, folks. Daniel Rubino joined once again with Jay Bennett and, surprisingly, Rafael Rivera, who's been extremely quiet these last few weeks, but he is now in Washington, and Jay's still in the UK, and I'm still in New York. So we haven't been doing a podcast for a while because of our schedules, but, here we are doing one on Friday, because why not? Jay, how you doing?
I'm all right, thanks. Just recovering from a busy week of developing and going to casual Nokia events and everything else going on. I'm more curious as to how Rafael is, because I generally thought he'd become a ghost.
Yeah, I apologize. It was a setup blunder after blunder, and then I had to move on top of it. Then we had build, and I was doing my own Windows stuff. So I was incredibly busy with that. But I'm back, baby. I'm back.
It just about sounds like an acceptable excuse. But whenever you say you're doing your own Windows stuff, I feel a little bit jealous, like we're being cheated on.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. How are you doing, Dan?
Friday morning, usual nonsense going on with the dealing with site stuff. But I'm slowly waking up. I'll probably awake in like 3 hours, so not for this podcast,
good.
But
I haven't slept yet.
So is that like a pre-warning just to everyone who's listening that you're not receiving the normal Daniel Rubino today, you're receiving his zombified sleepy self?
Yes. This will be it's the extra grouchy Dan, so I'll probably
the extra grouchy.
Yeah, extra
Good
grouchy.
God,
yes.
I don't think our audience can take that, man.
Let's head into the news. Let's talk about this Windows Phone 7.8 stuff. So guess what? There was no release on Wednesday. I don't know where. No. So actually, I kind of do know where this rumor started. It was a bunch of crap anyway. I think Raphael knew it was a bunch of nonsense because Paul Thurrott didn't run with it, and Mary J. Foley, and then he went to Verge. So we all knew that the 7.8 wasn't coming out Wednesday. But for some reason, a bunch of crappy sites ran this story that it was. But surprise, all Microsoft did was announce that it's coming in Q1 2013, which I think we've been saying since like 5 months ago.
Yep.
And they didn't really reveal any details about it that we don't already know, right? It's a new start screen. But we have sort of seen the final build of 7.8. And it does have more than a start screen in it. It does have the Bing wallpaper and a few other little niceties. But this being consumerism and America and the rest of the world, no matter what they give us, people won't be satisfied. So, but still, so
yeah,
2000.
It's quite a big delay, isn't it? Really? I mean, how long ago was Windows 8 released? It feels like forever now. Windows Phone 8 even, but it's only
4
been
weeks ago.
Less than a month. Yeah. So we're talking at several months in between the 8 update and the 7.8 update. Is this tactical? Is this an attempt to make sure that people update to Windows Phone 8? Those who are really gonna care, or is it just a case of 7.8 was so last minute?
Yeah, I don't ever go for conspiracy theory. The whole idea that they're just doing this so people get Windows Phone 8 devices. I really think that's ridiculous. If you decided you don't want Windows Phone 8 because you're in a contract, totally legitimate position. This won't change your mind if it's by a month or two. Why the delay? Well, I think we've been saying this for a while, right? 7.8 was literally, I think, pulled out of their derriere at the last minute in June. I don't think this was ever planned. I think it was sometime like in late June. They're like, all right, screw it. We'll just do a start screen. And I think they've been just working on that since. And to be honest, they've been focused on Windows Phone 8. I think 7.8 is a lower priority for them. Not because they don't consider it important, but because they're only so big. They can only devote so much resources. And do you put all your team effort into Windows Phone 8, your future, the one everybody's actually really looking at from a media perspective, or do you take those resources and put it on 7.8? So I think that's just a strategic decision that they have to make. I know people don't like to hear that they think this is Microsoft, they're money bags, they can just do whatever they want. But that's actually not how businesses work. It's the same reason why. Yeah, I was talking to someone on the team regarding podcasts. We get this complaint a lot, right? That podcast support is pretty poor with Windows Phone. Something which they actually agree with, and a lot of people know. It's not that they don't want to fix it. It's just that they have a list of things that they want to do, and podcast is a little bit lower. And sometimes other things come out and knock things down. They want to fix these things, but they can only do so much in a certain amount of time. Once again, I can explain myself to I'm blue in the face, but we're still going to get angry comments and emails about how they blew it and screw them and all this. And, you know,
it is a pain for those of us outside the US because it just means that there is zero support as opposed to at least we had some support before. So it feels like a backward step. As you say, it's down to the fact that it's what they can actually physically do at the time. It's what, you know, is available. But yeah, I think it's the thing that people get upset about there is that it's a loss of a feature rather than a feature that wasn't ready, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I mean, so we can, you know, kind of segue this into some Windows Phone 8 stuff pretty soon. But, you know, so 7.8, 2013, it is had to go with carriers on OEM partners and that whole thing. So it may be a little bit of a mess for a while. There should still be the classic way of manually upgrading the OS through the cab method. You know, you just won't get the firmware drivers, if ever. I mean, if they come out, you'll get them. But you won't necessarily get that right away. So still a little while to go in 7.8. For me, this isn't a surprise at all, but I guess for some people, perhaps it is.
That said, if you're clamoring for Windows Phone 7.8 right now, believe it or not, I have it running on my Samsung Focus right now.
Right. Yeah.
You know, there's ROMs out there. Flash your phone, play with it. You'll probably
do the usual disclaimer
really
of if you flash your phone, it's, you know, your own warranty risk, etc.
Right. I mean, you have a Gen 1 device at this point. It's probably not supported officially either. So
fair enough.
Yeah, something like the Samsung Focus, I highly doubt we'll actually get 7.8, at least in an official method, you know. I think we're just looking at the last generation devices. And I think LG is kind of basically, well, they haven't publicly said this, but some of their support staff have said that they're not going to do 7.8, which who's going to find that surprising? LG basically gave the middle finger to Microsoft and is having their affair with Android right now. And I think, you know, they're just wipe their hands clean of Windows Phone, which is a shame for, you know, people who have like the Quantum and some of the older LG devices, which actually were pretty solid. But
yeah. I was never a huge fan of the LG device. Or certainly over here we had the Optimus 7, I think it was. My uncle had it for a while. It always smacked of a phone that started out with someone thinking, yeah, here's a really cool idea, and then didn't get properly executed. Things like the camera wasn't that fantastic, although the flash was pretty decent. The screen was a little bit off, but the overall body design was quite nice. It was just a sort of, it felt like it was a company who started off thinking, I know we've got a really good idea, let's push Windows Phone and let's do really well with Windows Phone. And then suddenly just decided, oh, we'll back off from this because of some other external problems.
It just reminded me of that kid trying to do something. You're like, this is hard. And then they kind of quit. You know?
It's kind of how LG felt like. And then they went and did the that Jill Sander phone, which, do you know what? I got a shock of my life the other day. I was sitting on the train on the way back from Bath to London, and I actually saw somebody with that Jill Sander phone, and I thought it was a myth. I did not know it existed.
Take it out of their hand, throw it on the ground, stomp on it.
No, he looked at it. He was just a proper business guy, and he used it. And I was looking at it and thinking, dude, you are not who that phone was intended for. But, you know, it was there.
It did drop in price pretty heavily, so maybe he was just...
Yeah.
I was kind of half joking, but when Phil recently went to South Korea with LG, I told him to tell LG, thank you for leaving Windows Phone and please don't ever come back.
That's a bit harsh.
I'm okay with LG staying away very far from Windows Phone with their crap. And likewise with Sony. Every time Sony's like, "Oh, we don't know," I'm like, "Yeah, just stay away, please. Just go do your Android things and your half awesome hardware." Sony's the company that like makes awesome looking hardware until you actually start using it, and you're like, "Oh wait, this is still kind of half baked." Anyways, that's my anti-OEM rant.
I enjoyed that. I'm not gonna lie. So, should we talk about the features of 7.8? Have we been through all of them? Obviously, the build numbers integrated. We've also just mentioned. You mentioned obviously the new. We've got a new boot screen. The new start screen is the important bit. What else have we got?
New tiles,
the Core Apps redesign. The Core Apps redesign is probably quite a big deal because, you know, it brings everything in line. You'll have the new version of, or the new looking version of Office and Xbox Music, I'm guessing, rather than Zune.
Yep.
Yeah.
What else has changed? Raphael, you've got one, so tell us.
Well, I mean, we've been reporting on Windows Phone 7.8 features forever. But like Daniel said, you have the new tiles. You can shrink them down if need be. So I think that's actually important because, when someone starts comparing phones out in the real world, they'll be like, hey, look, I can shrink tiles. It's like, oh, yeah, I can too. These little things are important
I
in
think
the
Paul Perot
Windows
said
Phone
something about
ecosystem.
that was like
But
80% of the experience with Windows Phone 8 was the tiles. So it is
yeah.
important.
Let's see what else. I'm just scrolling through it right now, and I don't see any major differences.
Have you got the live lock screen wallpaper? Is that in there as well? So things like a Facebook app updating your live lock screen. I think that's one of the nice features of the new one.
I'm not sure. I don't use that stuff. And it doesn't help that I'm using a hacked ROM, right? So this thing is
Sure.
pieces borrowed from all over the place. I don't know what's 7.8 core, what's fake.
No, that's true. We do know it has a big lock screen wallpaper. What we don't know is whether or not that's third-party accessible, meaning that apps
the APIs. Yep.
Yeah, if it takes advantage of that, because then that raises some interesting issues about development. So that we don't know if it's just fixed to Bing, which to be honest is actually not. That's primarily what I'm using right now, because I have, of course, a few Windows Phone 8 devices with these lock screen wallpapers through various apps, Groupon, CNN, Baconet just came out with support for that. I mean, it's an interesting feature, but it's not perfect.
Yeah, I think what's important to me is that it has the Bing lock wallpaper. That's great. Every morning you fire up your phone, you see a different picture. I don't care about apps. That's the only
one that consistently looks the best.
Right.
Because the problem is with the CNN ones and Baconet too is the images aren't sometimes, and it's not their fault. It's the API. They just the way things get resized. Sometimes you're really zoomed in, and sometimes you get like a blocky image, or it just doesn't. And it's kind of weird. CNN, it's an interesting idea. You kind of get the headline photo, but sometimes it can be also depressing. If there's a lot of war stuff going on, every time you turn your phone on, it's like people on their knees with blood going, and you're just like, hey, I got an email. It's a little depressing. Groupon makes you kind of feel like a consumer whore, and I love Groupon, by the way. A year ago, I laughed off Groupon. I'm like, this is for housewives. Like, there's just nothing here for me. Now I'm like, every day, like, ooh, buying all sorts of stuff. Having said that, every time I turn my phone on, it's just like cheeseburger, $10, off at your diner. It's like, okay, I don't know. It feels a little weird. So
I should just point out, because obviously neither of you mentioned the Facebook one, and I'm guessing it's because neither of you particularly heavy Facebook users, but it is worth saying that the Facebook lock screen does work pretty well. You can sort of have all your photos tiled across the top, and then in sort of smaller versions, just photos of you that have recently come up with you and your friends. So that one's quite a nice work, although I could do with it changing a bit more frequently rather than just picking, say, the last 10 photos that it finds. But that's a good implementation of the of that capability.
I think that kind of feature is something that we won't see it reach its potential for a couple of months. It's going to take developers a little while to tweak things and get things right.
And they've only just got the SDK at the end of the day, so
yeah. And it doesn't
throw
look
that
like
in there.
It doesn't look like 7.8 has lock screen notifications, which is a bit of a shame. At least I haven't seen that yet.
I'd be surprised if it doesn't, because that's the easiest thing to do, really, with regards to what it requires. Third-party developers just hook into it automatically by setting account variables, so that's very easy for them to do. I'd be very surprised if that doesn't come through.
Yeah, well, so far we haven't seen any evidence for it, so I suppose they still have time, and we'll see what some of the other companies do. Now, also, we're expecting some customizations via HTC and Nokia for their devices that may augment some features. We've already seen some like HTC having looks like something that keeps the Wi-Fi alive. So there's going to be some additional features that will come. Nokia, of course, is probably going to be the best one at supporting their legacy devices, meaning that they'll probably squeeze in a few more options in there. That's just the same old story. So 7.8, don't expect it till January, February, and we'll have to see what the carriers and OEMs, how they play, and what happens here. But still a developing story. But as Rafael was pointing out, the live tile feature, to be honest, is sort of the main experience that you'll get with this, and it's an okay thing. Once it seems silly, you may be like, oh, that's it. But actually, once you start using the tiles, it really does make a big difference. You'll see, it really is the most of the experience. So
yeah,
but no rooms. Yeah, no rooms. It doesn't look like, which is kind of a shame. We've been using rooms at WPCentral.
It's a good feature, that rooms. I like that. We should just quickly point out, because people are asking in the chat room about Apollo Plus, and we haven't really got anything to talk about here apart from the fact that there's an Apollo Plus Q1 2013 update, which is out and around, which may have VPN support and that patch for the Wi-Fi issue. I think it's more interesting to talk about the over-the-air plans to fix the Windows Phone 8 rebooting issue. The whole issue.
Yeah, let's talk about the rebooting issue. Yeah, I've only experienced this on my HTC 8X. I haven't seen it on my 920, but others have seen it on the 920 and other devices too. So it appears to be something with the OS, and maybe Rafael knows a little bit more than I do on this. My guess is it has something to do with certain applications that you install that is tripping something with the memory and causing a reset.
I swear it's Facebook that's doing it.
Yeah, so I have an 820 or an 825 weird ass dev device, and I've had it reboot once. Paul has had Paul Thurrott has had his HTC 8X reboot a couple of times, and I find it hard to believe that there's any third-party app in the store that's causing this, because they're all running managed code.
Well, some of them do have that extra integration. I mean, I think the Facebook app does have some native.
Right. That's what I was going to say. So those are actually like first-party apps. Those apps have the ability to dig their roots into the OS and break things. And I would not be surprised if them or Nokia's apps, because I tell you what, this phone updates these Nokia apps like every single day. And I think that Nokia Extras one caused my phone to reboot, but I have no idea. I would definitely point to a native app issue. Now, the fact that Microsoft said they're pushing out an OTA update seems to indicate it's an OS issue. So I don't know. It's kind of
well, but they could always fix it at the OS level if it is an app problem. I mean, I swear I've only seen it once, and it was briefly after using the Facebook app on the 8X. I've never seen it on the 920, although I haven't used the 920 as much. But it was on the 8X. I used the Facebook app, toggled through a few photos, and then came out of it. And in about 5 minutes later, the whole thing crashed. It's the first time I've seen Windows Phone 8 crash at all, but it did happen once. So I really want to believe it's a third-party app situation. I think the only advice I can give people is we really don't know what causes it, but it might be worth trying not to use the Facebook app for a bit and just stick to the
a lot of people with the 8X also have said that just not having a SIM card in actually prevents it. So it could be even tied to the radio stack issue.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, because my 8X, I'll just leave it sitting there and I'll just see it restart. Like I won't even use it, and I don't have Facebook installed. So I honestly don't know. I'm not sure we'll ever know. Microsoft has been, I guess we can still call it the Sanofsky-ization of Microsoft, where they keep everything secret. Case in point was the marketplace era that some of us had, where I couldn't reinstall apps. I'd go to reinstall them, and it'd be like, oh, you have to pay for that.
That's in our script for a bit later on. We'll come to that one in a second. So, what else do we have in the news? We have the deadmau5 thing on Wednesday. Nokia once again rolled out deadmau5. He's starting to look like sort of their spokesman for the Lumia line, really, with a number of times he's shown up here in London. This was another London event, unlike last year when they lit up the whole of Millbank Tower with this crazy 4D projection. This time around, they had him next to sort of the Shard in the Tower Bridge area and lit up some bins instead, which, bins.
I was going to say, I quickly saw the video and I was like, eh.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Same here.
Like,
it's not as big as it was last year, basically.
Yeah, last year's event, like I watched numerous times. I put it even on my Xbox just to watch it because it was so cool.
Yeah. Well, so the thing you've got to consider is how much do you think? I mean, the Lumia line didn't explode because of that. It's a publicity stunt, basically. It's a publicity stunt. And so if they're just trying to if they're just trying to sort of say, oh, hey, look, the Lumia line is still around, we just don't refresh, which is pretty much from an outside consumer perspective, kind of what the Lumia looks like. That's what they've done. And they had, I don't know if you saw they had a really interesting design, a slogan, sorry, to go with this, which was, this is Lumia, don't be afraid of the dark, which I thought was actually pretty clever considering all the camera technology that's in there. So it's sort of all tied in with just trying to say, hey, look, from a consumer perspective, here's this awesome new phone that's been slightly refreshed and has an awesome camera. That's kind of what it looked like to me, anyway. Yeah. But then they basically they sent out these free tickets. Myself and Rich from the site showed up to this to the Brixton Electric venue, and we were a bit unconvinced as to what was happening, because about an hour after they actually did it, we got shown a video of that happening, and everyone's sort of looking around thinking, wait, are they not bringing DevMass here? What's going on? You know, have we just all been duped? And there was a very good chance I could feel the audience sort of about to go, right, to hell with Nokia. But,
about to riot.
Yeah, well, especially in Brixton. It ended up being pretty good, because they brought him out just immediately afterwards, and he just carried on the set that he'd done basically outside. And it was a really cool event. Got a lot of positive reaction. There were the usual few boos of people who didn't like the fact they were being told to switch. But again, it was Brixton. What can you expect? But it was a really good evening. And again, more Nokia throwing money at the Lumia line and sort of proving to us that they really want this to succeed. And it's kind of a shame that we didn't have quite as much fanfare of a Windows Phone 8 in the first place. I'd have quite liked to see Microsoft do something like this here in the UK, because HTC aren't doing it. They haven't got the money to throw behind it. And if Microsoft want the HTC to be the signature phone, then there should be some advertisement out there. Otherwise, it will all be Lumia.
Yeah. Oh well. For once, I'm not jealous of that event. So,
hey,
well, they had free booze.
Yeah, it was not free. It was free entry and the usual London nightclub ridiculous amount of money for a beer.
Gotcha.
So, there you go. Let's go on to the Surface Pro got announced for pricing, which is coming out in January. Depending on how you feel about it, it's either a bargain or a little bit expensive. It's $899 for the 64 gig and $999 for the 128 gig. Neither of which come with a keyboard, so throw in an extra $125 for that.
Or use the one you've got from your Surface RT.
if anyone has an RT and a Pro, either you have a lot of money or you're just that's gonna be really silly to have both.
That'll be me.
But hardware-wise, it is an impressive device. I don't think anyone can deny the Surface has some of the best quality of a device out there. I mean, it really is. You pick it up and it really feels elegant. It feels great. And this packs, some pretty powerful hardware in it. The resolution's bumped up to 1920, I believe, for 1080p resolution. A lot of people complain about that previously on the Surface. It also has obviously more memory, faster processor, video out, and of course it comes with the pen so you can doodle on your screen. Some pretty nice features involved there. Having said that, I'm not planning on getting one. I don't know if you guys are. I know, Jay, you already have RT?
I have the RT. The RT is a development device in my justification world. And this is intended to replace my laptop because it might just be possible now. Although I'm probably going to have to grab a type cover rather than the touch cover, just if I want to actually replace it. But I'm excited about it. So, as you say, it's either a bargain or it's too pricey. If you look at it from the perspective of it's going to be, a Core i5 laptop that's ridiculously thin and functions as a full-blown tablet, then it's a bargain for that money. If you look at it as it's a full-blown tablet which has got 64 gig of storage, then it's a little bit on the pricey side. I think that double the extra $100 as it is over there, hopefully that'll translate to £50 over here, although I doubt it will. For double the storage is a pretty good deal. I think that's not too bad actually, especially seeing as the 128 is going to be much more appealing on the Pro than it would be on the RT. But I don't know. I think the pen is actually going to sell it for me, just that pen, because I've always wanted a proper Wacom digitizer style pen had a decent capacitive screen, and this is the first chance I've had to go, yes, I can realize the dream. And it'll last me 5 minutes before I get bored of it. But in that 5 minutes,
Sure.
my handwriting is going to be awesome. So
for some people, this really is a big deal to have that ability. So for them, it really is a big deal. For myself, I have little to no use because I barely write now. When I do write, I'm just like embarrassed and shocked with how bad my handwriting is. So I don't need to be reminded of that on a computer on a daily basis. But for some people, taking notes and that kind of thing, it really is helpful. Rafael, what do you think of the Pro? Are you planning on getting it?
I don't know. I mean, I have an RT device as well, and it's kind of just sitting and collecting dust.
Do you not use yours?
I blame, at the time, I blamed the RT for not being a Pro as the reason why it was collecting dust. But now that I think about it, it's like the Pro, although it has a bigger screen, faster USB, I don't really care. I don't know. I'm still a laptop guy. But the pen, I will tell you, was... When I found out the RT wasn't going to have the pen, I was kind of disappointed.
Well, so the question is, Rafael, I mean, why do you buy a Surface or why do you buy a Surface Pro? For me, I'm thinking that lugging around my laptop is actually quite a lot of extra storage and quite a lot of extra space in my bag. And at the moment, I'm lugging both the laptop and the RT around. But if I decided to replace it and just have this Pro as sort of the laptop replacement, it's it's going to be a tiny little thing, the size of a netbook.
Jay. I mean, in fairness, though, I mean, I don't know what laptop you have, but if you get like a Samsung Series 9 laptop or something similar.
Well, that's beautiful, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, some of the new laptops are really thin and light. I don't really see, to be honest, a huge advantage with the Surface Pro over, say, like a Samsung Series 9 or some of these other devices, these new laptops that are coming out. And that's not
down
to
to
say,
battery?
and I don't want to say the Surface Pro is a bad device. I'm not saying that at all. I mean, I think they're nice, but well, I'll be doing a video on this later on today, but here I can show you quickly. I got this guy here, if you can see. This is the Acer Iconia W5, and I
was quite interested in that device.
Yeah, I picked this up. I ordered it on Cyber Monday because it was going for $399. And I'll be honest, when I actually was about to order, I didn't even realize it's Windows 8 Pro. I thought it was an RT device, but it actually is full Pro. So this device was $399, and it has a 10.1-inch screen, same resolution as the Surface and everything. But I actually like this better than the Surface, and I know that's going to probably...
Blasphemy.
I know.
What's the processor in that thing? It's an Atom. Am I right?
Yeah, it's an Atom 1.5, and I forgot the exact number.
It's an
It
Atom.
actually has stamped here, I think. No, it just says Atom. Yeah, it's a newer Atom, and it's faster than the Surface RT. I find it like the performance is actually a little bit better. So for me, the performance is better. It has it can snap onto a keyboard, which I don't have, but it's actually slightly smaller at 10.1 inch. For me, this actually makes a better tablet. The 10.6, one thing I don't like about the Surface design is it's almost too big as a tablet.
Yeah,
and it feels awkward to hold.
Yeah, especially when you're trying to make it your Kindle replacement.
It doesn't work as Kindle replacement at all.
Yeah, I've never owned a Kindle, and every time I go to buy one, it's like, I kind of have a tablet. Let me just use that.
No. I don't think you should use tablets as Kindle replacements in general. E-ink is a revolution for a reason.
Yeah, I have the Paperwhite, and I absolutely love it. You would have to. I mean, there's nothing that's going to touch that for me. I mean, the Paperwhite is my reading material. But
so we've gone massively off topic here, but I do want to ask you the battery life of that one. What's it like?
So I've only had it not even 24 hours yet, but so far it actually seems really good. I don't see any difference with it. That's the thing. It's just, this is what I noticed. The speakers are really good, but then they're placed in bad positions, but then you can flip it anyway, so it doesn't matter almost. I'll go into this into a video review. It's faster, it's smoother. It has as much memory with micro SD expansion. And the battery life seems as good to me as the Surface. I haven't noticed a huge difference yet, but I really won't know for a couple of days. And like I said, it has Windows 8 Pro on it, which I don't really care about. It's kind of like Rafael, where I know some people are like, oh, I need Pro. It's like on a tablet, I honestly don't care. I'm using this mostly as a consumer, to consume, right? Not to produce content. Having said that, if you're going to just give me Windows 8 Pro, okay, I'll take it. It's one of those, if I don't use it, I don't use it. Kind of like, what this also has? This also has NFC built in and GPS. Those are two things I kind of almost don't care about, but oh, it's got NFC. Oh, I'll take it. I
Yeah.
used a bump to share last night to see how it worked. Uh, I'll take these extra features for $100 less than the Surface. And so I know it's going to be kind of a controversial blasphemy position, but that's kind of how I feel. And it's not saying the Surface isn't a good device. It's just, it's not for everybody. So
No, of course.
Yep.
Yeah, we've got master topic, but all saying that was interesting. What else was next on our list of news?
Oh, the Xbox game that's missing. Yeah.
Yeah, go on, Dan. Tell you in this one.
So as soon as Windows 8 came out, I started talking with our game guru there, Paul Acevedo, about Xbox games because some of them were crashing and having issues. So I was like, Paul, could you, work on a piece about this? And it took a little bit longer than I had expected, but it's only because it's such a good article because he contacted a lot of the developers and there was just a lot of information in there. And basically what it says is that a lot of these Xbox Live games just don't work on Windows Phone 8. And it's sort of a big deal. There's like 20 to 25 games that have been either pulled or hidden from Windows Phone 8 that just don't run on there or are unstable. And probably the bigger controversy is not that has happened, but it's the fact that some of those developers weren't aware that their game was incompatible with Windows Phone 8 and weren't even aware that their game is now hidden from the store. That really is kind of a big problem because some of these games like OMG, I don't think I know won't ever come to Windows Phone 8 because the guys that made OMG were just like done. They never even updated that app, not once. Shoot, Fruit Ninja still never has been bumped to Mango, so it's like, it kind of blows my mind. This Xbox Live stuff for his games is still a small disaster on Windows Phone. And, it kind of drives me nuts. I don't know. Rafael, did you get to read this article, by the way?
Yeah, I read through it, and again, I was shocked at the fact that developers didn't know themselves. And further, when they come to you as a dev and say, hey, your game's missing from the marketplace, what do? There's like no contact point for the Microsoft store guys. So I totally feel sorry for them. That's just terrible. But yet it's weird because then you have other games, like I think you mentioned, or in the article they mentioned, Mirror's Edge. It shows up in the marketplace but can't be installed on certain devices. And that's how it should have been with all these other apps, but I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's a small little disaster. I don't think anyone has been happy with Xbox on Windows Phone since day one. And I don't mean that as like, there were some complaints on this platform that I find are people just sort of whining about little things. Like every time I hear like, why is there no FLAC support?
Yeah.
I mean, this is really a low priority, okay? Something like Xbox, though, on Windows Phone, I don't know if it's not a high priority or it's a really hard problem. And, we've talked about this before. We're behind, on the other side. We don't know what it's like to deal with this stuff. So maybe this is a really tough problem to have to work on. But it sucks. Yeah. It really does. I mean, the Xbox Live experience, I've always said, like, I prefer a lot of the indie games to the Xbox Live games. And there are a couple exceptions to that. But for the most part, I'm not happy with the Xbox experience on Windows Phone. It's getting incrementally better, but it needs to be better than that. So,
yeah. I think that's pretty fair. And it's as Rafael was saying. I mean, the bit that is the pain is the fact that developers weren't told about this.
Yep.
They weren't told, we're going to have to pull your thing from being shown in the marketplace because it doesn't work on Windows Phone 8. Oh, hang on a second, in terms of market share, that's insanity. But at least, I don't know.
Yeah,
at least they do appear in searches for Windows Phone 7.
I mean, like another example, right? So Angry Birds. Now, Rovio has actually been pretty on top of things with Windows Phone lately, right? Star Wars came out pretty much within just like 3 or 4 days of Android and iOS, so that was cool. We got Space now, these kind of things. Although, they're Windows Phone 8 games only, but still, okay, clean slate. But now yesterday, the Hoth levels came out. iOS got it, Android got it. Where's Windows Phone? And this is going to be a thing with Windows Phone. I don't know if those Hoth levels aren't ready. Perhaps they are ready. Even if they are, it still takes what seems like a long time for this stuff to clear, that magical gate that is the Xbox Live crew, right?
Mm.
So I don't know. We're always going to be behind Android and iOS when it comes to games, and that's just.
Well, that can't be the case. We can't say we're always behind. That's the thing. Then for titles like this, for this kind of for things like this kind of update, Microsoft need to actually have a express path for Xbox Live.
Yes.
Okay, that they're worried so much about certification, worried so much about making sure everything works, all that kind of stuff. But that can't be the case. Okay, there needs to be a fast lane for the Xbox Live devs, not more red tape. Because if you're going to promote things as Xbox Live, it should be the premium experience, not leaving it to third-party developers. And for some parts that has been the case, but I mean things like, has Alpha Jax even made its way into Xbox Live this week?
No,
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, it's still
not
kind of MIA. This is what I'm talking about. It's just sort of, like I said, and we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Maybe this is like a really tough thing, and if we sat down, these guys would be like, listen, you don't know what it's like, and I'm sure that's the case. But as a consumer, all I see is like inconsistency. And it's like we've talked about this before, right? With all the Xbox Live certification and the red tape they got to go through, and we'd be almost okay with that. Except almost every game comes out with like glitched achievements and like little holes in the game. It doesn't work on this phone. It works on that. So it's still like
what is that process getting us?
Exactly. So it's like I'd rather have the indie games which can get patched right away. At least by comparison. So okay,
and as you say, I mean, this is the thing. It seemed like things were changing when we got Angry Birds Space Star Wars, and I've been playing it. I've got to say, it's the best Angry Birds game I've played. It's one of the ones that I keep actually coming back to. I think I might even complete this one. It is fantastic.
George beat it in like 2 days, I think.
Did
which
he?
is weird. Yeah,
it's all those. It's the new birds. It's the things like the handbird or the hunbird, sorry, that can fire lasers as it flies through the air. That's cool. That's a cool gameplay idea. And it's a really good game, and the fact that it came out on Windows Phone as well, it signified it was kind of like the return of the Jedi almost. It was kind of like, this is a signified moment where Windows Phone's going back into the fray, and look, here we are, and oh wait, we've not got the update. So I really hope that gets pushed out in a matter of hours, not in a matter of days, because we need to keep that momentum going. It's kind of a really good opportunity for a flagship to say, hey, look, gaming has changed with Windows Phone 8, but we won't see the true fruits of the labor until people start using all the engines and we start getting things interesting.
It's going to be an ongoing issue. I mean, like now the biggest, fad with mobile OS is was that game called FaceType or something?
Yeah.
But it's like huge. It's the new Words with Friends, right? And which was funny because we finally got Words with Friends and
draw something.
And what were the reactions?
Which is awful.
Everybody in the comments were, besides the fact that the games are kind of glitchy, the reactions were, "Who cares? That was popular 3-4 months ago." And this is like almost like the lamest thing about this stuff, because when these games come out, I'm always kind of like giving the middle finger to everybody. I'm like, I don't care. This stuff is stupid. Especially Words with Friends. Okay, it's Scrabble, people, right? But the fact is, people do play these things. But then you can see they quickly get over them very quickly. So that everybody makes a big deal out of it. And then like 3 months later, it's like, oh, that's so lame. We don't use that anymore.
It's this thing. It's the cross-platform level. It needs to be there on the first day just to make everyone feel like we're all included. You're not missing out by having this kind of phone, because that kind of experience sticks with people, and they say, "Oh, well, next time my contract comes up, I'm going to go with a different manufacturer."
Sure.
And Big Doos in our chat room has just made a very good point. As the other issue is Star Wars Angry Birds is so much more expensive on Windows 8 than it is in Windows Phone 8. It's 79p over here if you want it, or I think 99 cents if you want it on your phone, or $4.99 on a tablet. You think, hang on a second, it's just the same game on a bigger screen. And that is going to be a problem going forward with the whole Windows 8, Windows Phone 8 ecosystem. We've highlighted this before. Having two separate ecosystems is fine if things are different between them. If you've got two different versions of an app. If you've got basically the same app that's pretty damn identical and nothing's really optimized or changed for the tablet experience, then it's difficult to ask people to pay for that again.
They need a way to take advantage of what they have actually now, is the ability. So with Windows Phone 8, I did a little piece about this a while ago with Bing Rewards, where they can generate codes that can be used for buying things in the Microsoft Store. What they need is a system where if I bought Angry Birds on my Windows Phone or Windows 8, I get like a coupon code which I can then use and apply to get the other one in a marketplace to help discount the price. That'd be huge.
And that can kind of work with the in-app purchases. That's something which developers can possibly do.
And they'll be up for it, but Microsoft really needs to, I think, coddle that system and sort of get it going first. But that's an easy solution to that problem. It just someone needs to take that and do something with it. And I'm looking at Microsoft, not the developers, because that system is there and it could work and it could do a lot. It could really, really ameliorate that whole issue with high prices. And really tying the two systems as a bargain, But
or like you say, offering a price to buy both kind of situation that was severely reduced would be enough. Let's move on to the apps, and we're going to start up before we go into actually any apps themselves. We are going to talk about this the issue with Windows Phone Store issue for app repurchases, and it's important to talk about because I cannot tell you how many different emails I got of people saying, "Oh, I've just bought my new phone, and now it's telling me I have to repurchase the app." And why do I have to repurchase your app? I paid you this amount of money, and my heart goes out to people. I had to say the same thing over and over again. I have absolutely no control over that. I can't even tell if you bought the app or not, apart from what the app tells me when you send me these emails, because that's all controlled by Microsoft. I can't.
Did you ever want to troll people though? Because I
work in support in my day job, and I get very good at giving the right kind of responses.
You do. Jay's like a Buddhist monk compared to me, because I get these emails and I'm just like, even it's our audience who I love, but sometimes I just want to be like, we evaluated your record and saw some of your comments on WP Central, and we decided you're not cut out for our site. So we're, I don't know. I don't do that. But I like to do that.
But yeah, that is Dan. Basically, I think Dan gets sent a copy of all these emails that come to me, and every now and again I copy him on a response that I send to certain people and certain requests, and I think it does make him laugh quite a few times. I have to be very diplomatic at times, but most of the feedback and comments that I get are people that are genuinely interested, and if people genuinely don't understand, then I'm really happy to help. Every now and again we get silly things like somebody complaining that I've misspelt the word customize, and I just have to smile and say that is the correct British spelling, and we invented the language, so suck it. But obviously I don't say suck it, but no, obviously I don't want to discourage feedback, because it does get responded to, and I respond to I think 95% of feedback and help requests that I get, just because it comes to the territory. But if you were one of the people who decided to repurchase an app during that period, which was we were looking about a week and a half when people couldn't download things again.
It was 10 to 12 days,
yeah, it's worth getting in touch with the support guys at billing.microsoft.com. They will issue or arrange you to have a refund because you shouldn't have paid, and it's their mistake. You can even, if you like, direct them to the article on our site where we pointed out that this has clearly been fixed. If they want to deny it, get yourself a refund because you didn't need to pay for things twice. You should.
Let's talk about why this happened, and B, Microsoft's response. So, because they're both kind of interesting. A, we don't know the official reason. Microsoft barely acknowledges this problem even existed. But it seems to have been tied to some sort of glitch in the store with certain apps. Possibly apps, ironically, that were paid apps, but then were given away free for a period of time and then went back up again. That seems to sort of been the trigger, that were apps that dropped down to free and went back up to a paid app. Where those seem to be the apps that have had this problem, which is actually quite a few apps. And so it was a problem with, looks like Windows Phone 8 devices. And so what Microsoft did, apparently this would cause instability on your device, could cause the device to crash and everything like that. So what they did was they cut off these apps in this repurchase history for certain people as to sort of control the problem. It's sort of like, doing a tourniquet, right? To control the bleeding. And so tourniquets suck and you can, lose the limb and all this kind of stuff, but it's better than the alternative. So that seems to have been what happened here, that they cut off certain people until they could straighten out this bug. Now, what bothers me was the response from Microsoft. We asked Microsoft about this directly, and we got the usual, we're aware, we're trying to fix it kind of thing. And that was it. But there was no public acknowledgement of it. There was no And so we were left holding the bag, because we're, for all intents and purposes, they're sort of almost their interaction with public. Microsoft looks to our forums and comments and everything and how people interact as their guide for some things. And it just, it was bad. We ended up having to respond to a lot of these emails and act as their customer support. And I couldn't even tell people exactly what was going on. And that was kind of frustrating. I think and I understand they had Windows Phone 8 launch. They don't want bad news, but they kind of buried this problem. And it was really unfortunate because even I couldn't get technical support. I tried to deal with Windows Phone support on this, and they're like, oh, try this. Can you turn your Wi-Fi off? And I was just like, come on, man, this ain't that. This is your end, And then they're like, oh, we'll email you. And they said they were going to email me, and then I needed to list all the apps that I was having this problem with. Now, for a normal human being, this may have been a doable problem. For me, this is impossible. I mean, I've had over 2,000 apps installed, right? It's not...
Just break exclusive, everybody. Dan has finally confirmed that he's not a normal human being.
Yeah, right.
Take that to the bank.
So, but
exclusive.
I mean, this whole thing was just handled badly by Microsoft. I'm glad it's straightened out, I hope, for most people, but it was just sort of like, Then again, considering what happened with going from 7 to 8, what could have transpired, I think Microsoft has actually been. There's been a lot less could have went wrong. It could have gone wrong with this whole thing. So
my question is, what happens to the folks who actually repurchased it, or could you go through that process?
So they need to, as Jay was saying, they need to contact Microsoft Billing. But how many of them are going to know?
How would they know?
Yeah. Exactly. So unless Microsoft is sending out an email to these people, well, listen, you may have bought apps in the past that you didn't need to. Please do this and do these steps. These people were just going to, and there were people like that. They're like, oh, I just started rebuying my apps again. It's just like, wow, really? And now you can argue if it's 99 cents here, 99 cents here, not the end of the world, but still, I mean, it's just, it's sort of like out of sight, out of mind right now for Microsoft. And that was even with us. And I thought it was handled poorly. So,
yeah. Agreed. Next.
I'm going to send an email to Microsoft right now to re-ping them on this issue.
Give him the old
Rafael to the rescue.
Yeah, the whole Raph is an asshole treatment.
Yeah, if you get it sorted, or I'll hack your phone system again.
No, that's poor because people went out there, they probably saw this message and said, "Oh, maybe I didn't buy it," and they bought it again. That's their money down the drain. That's just completely wrong.
Yeah.
So
now I'm angry.
What else? We're about to see Raphael turn into the Hulk now. So let's move on to happier news and apps this week. Let's start off with ours, because today we've released a new update to the Windows Phone Central app. The headline features this time around are the option to receive email alerts when someone replies to your comments, the option to edit comments. Kind of people kept asking for that, and my original delete solution wasn't good enough. We've updated some of the icons to be a higher resolution, and most importantly, updated the live tile to be a higher resolution. So on Windows Phone 8 devices, it doesn't look terrible anymore. Fixed a ridiculous bug where the app would crash if you tried to thank somebody. That wasn't intentional. We do want you to thank people, but thanks to an upgrade to the forums in the background, exposed this bug, and a couple more crashes regarding emoji and general problems. We've also got a fix in there for sometimes you can't see images in the forum. If that happens, the app will handle it better now and prompt you to tap and view it in Internet Explorer just to make sure that you can still get to the content. There is no support yet for the 16:9 resolutions on HTC's Windows Phone 8X. I addressed this in the post, but God knows we still got comments about it. To do that, we have to switch. People don't read. To do that, we have to target Windows Phone 8. And when we target Windows Phone 8, I have to start maintaining 2 different versions of a code base, and it becomes a pain. So we intend to, with any luck, we intend to hopefully I intend to get the code into a good state where I can share as many classes between the two as I can. But when that happens, I also need to do a bit of updates to the Windows Phone Central app code to make sure that we don't just have lots of padding on this the the higher resolution and widest aspect ratio. So it is coming, and I have a little development version on my 8X right now. It is on my list of things to do. Just for the love of God, give me a chance.
And we also need to update our logo, right?
Oh,
we
yeah.
have a new logo, by the way. You can only see it on the site, not within the app. Turns out the new logo in the app is the new logo, but we have a new logo because that's just how we do things.
That's just how we roll. And yeah, I'll now have to go through that process of integrating the new logo. So that'll also come in the next step, and we'll probably have to change the tile now, and the design will have to be a bit different. And after all that work I just did, yeah.
So Jay, real quick, how long has the submission turnaround been?
So submitted this one on Monday. Monday morning, roughly, or Monday midday-ish. Got the turnaround overnight last night, so 4 days. The one thing I'm really impressed with actually is when they send you the email saying that it's been certified, it gets published that instance. It doesn't take it's taken another 48 hours for it to appear in the marketplace. So that has been really good. That's been a noticeable improvement.
That's good. So baby steps, people.
Dan, do you want to talk to us about Parcel Tracker?
Yeah, so Parcel Tracker, I really like these guys. They've we covered their app previously, and they've done some updates. And then the big controversy was a couple weeks ago. They were like, "We're done with Windows Phone," and they basically said that some things that other people have pointed out, that the revenue just wasn't there for them, and it didn't become financially viable for them as a company to keep making this app. Which I can sympathize with them, but it was an odd decision only because this was right before Windows Phone 8 and Windows 8 were about to launch. It was like, wait, give it a couple months. Just try it for a couple months, see what happens. And so they actually responded, and they were like, okay, so they put the app back on the marketplace, and then they also released a Windows 8 client, which is really nice. And yesterday they updated it, so now Parcel Tracker is now Package Tracker, which matches the Windows 8 version. And they sync to I forgot to update the post. It doesn't sync to SkyDrive. It syncs to their Azure service. And so what happens is now you sync up to the cloud, and both your clients are supposed to be able to contact each other and basically be in tandem, which is great. So you just enter it once, and it'll sync to all your devices. And I know some people give me this well, you can just track your packages on the web now, and it's totally true. But this is the difference between, pull and push, this kind of thing. I don't want to have to go and check my package. I like getting notifications. And so that's what this app does. Is all of a sudden I'll just get an alert on my phone like, your package is now in Pennsylvania, and it gives you up to the minute status updates. And that's what I want, because I order expensive stuff sometimes on the internet. I'm one of these people, I do all my shopping on the internet. So I get a lot of things. I want to know where my package is. Yeah, I want to know if it's out for delivery, right? I want to know if I should be looking out for the UPS truck. So for me, this app and this service is essential. And what makes Package Tracker really good is the fact that it has worldwide support. I know there's another one out there that was actually a good app too. I forgot its name. It's similar parcel tracking. But it has mostly support for the US. And this one has, if you look at what it supported, they have 50 delivery services on this thing. That's Iceland delivery, So it's probably one of the best ones. And I like these guys because I want to see them succeed, because I think, one, they have a good service, and two, they're embracing the whole 3-screen cloud thing well. So, so go get that out.
Good. I had a feeling you were quite a fan of that one. Annoyingly, there's no equivalent over here in the UK, which would actually be quite nice. Actually, should we go with Baconet as well? I don't use that, but another one of the ones that you quite like using.
Yeah, Baconet, Reddit is becoming more and more important, for a lot of people. It's called the front page of the internet for a reason. So if you haven't ever tried Reddit, just go there. It's interesting. How Reddit works is basically people submit stories, and then you can upvote them or downvote them. So basically what happens when you go to the front page of Reddit, it's pretty much the top most interesting news. And then there were called subreddits, which are specifically focused on topics. Like there's a Reddit Windows Phone, which is kind of some interesting stuff there. Sometimes it's a little annoying too. But Baconet is, I would consider, the best client for this, and it's completely free. It's there is a donation version, which if you use it a lot, I recommend. But it also has what's called Bacon Sync, which is a plugin. I think it's for Chrome. And what it does is, if you're viewing Reddit on your laptop or computer, it syncs up to the phone to let you know what you've already read. So when you go onto your phone, if you're mobile, you won't have to go through the same content again. Really clever stuff, right? So now the version is updated for Windows Phone 8. Does the lock screen stuff, and does the fast resume, which is really important. This is one of the cool features of Windows Phone 8. The idea is that when you have the tile on your screen and you tap it, it won't reload the app. It'll actually continue where it was left off. So there's all sorts of cool little things like that, and it's it's a good app. So
good stuff. I can't say I use it myself. Rafael, have you touched Reddit stuff or Parcel Tracker?
Yeah, I'm not a big Reddit person, although I will flick through the subreddits for the the funny memes and images and stuff. But aside from that, I'm not a heavy user. But I will say I've used Bacon, and it seems like to be the Reddit client on Windows Phone. I wouldn't even bother with anything else. This thing does it all. So that's cool.
It gets updated very frequently, and the developers really on top of it. So I think he actually works for Microsoft now. He was hired. He was like an intern, and then they brought him on.
Yeah. Oh, nice one. What else have we got that's changed? Oh yeah, the Nokia Maps update. I've just installed this one myself actually. So it's worth pointing out because one of the things which sort of separates the Nokia phones from the regular phones is the fact they don't really have Bing Maps. It's kind of there. It's kind of hidden behind the scenes. But ultimately, it means that when you search and when you try and pin things, it all ends up in Nokia Maps. And that was a problem before because Nokia Maps was slow to load and it was a bit of a pain in general to use. This update has, what's it done? Well, it's done speed improvements. That's the most important thing. So ultimately, the big thing which it changes is that the lock screen, the splash screen, doesn't stay around forever when you're loading it. It actually loads pretty damn quickly.
It took like 5 seconds to load. I mean, it was.
Yep. Let's do a demonstration. Here's my phone. Tap on the tile, and in about a second, it's up. Now that is acceptable for a Maps application. It can't take 5 seconds. So. Big news update that needed to happen, considering that if I'm doing this, if I did the same thing, quite literally exactly the same thing on the HTC 8X, you'll see again, tap the tile up here, it happens pretty damn much instantly. So it needed to be fixed and addressed, and I'm glad that Nokia has done that because it was one of the things that I pulled out as a problem in my comparison.
I still don't like Nokia Maps.
No, I used to like it because it had better data behind it. Now it's the same. So it's difficult to sort of
I just one. And I all due respect to Nokia here, but I actually liked Bing Maps. I never had a problem with that. I don't know if it's just because I'm more familiar with the UI or it's because it was more intuitive for me. But every time I load Nokia Maps up, my brain pauses for a few seconds on what I need to do and how I search for something and I need to back out to go back to the map. It just causes my brain in this brief moment of and so I don't like it. I really wish I could just get the Bing Map, UI back. I don't see an advantage to it.
And it's much smoother to scroll. Plus, when you zoom in all the way on Nokia and you zoom all the way in on Bing, you don't. One gives you the overlay. The sorry, what am I saying? The satellite. One doesn't.
What Jay's talking about. Yeah, when you pinch to zoom on Bing Maps, when you get in really close, it automatically will switch to that satellite view. It was such a cool UI experience that you could show your friends, oh, that's awesome. And Nokia doesn't do that. It's just are you kidding? And the traffic sucks too for Nokia Maps. So
so I mean, there are some areas where the data's better, but it's certainly not. I know it's definitely an omission from the Windows Phone experience, and it's
it'll get better. I have total faith in Nokia that they'll improve this, but it just sucks, right? It's sort of like quite a few things on Windows Phone 8 where I know it's going to get better, like the whole Xbox music and video experience. I know they'll fix it and it'll get better. It still sucks if you're coming from Windows Phone 7 and you were able to buy movies and sync to your phone, and now you can't. Telling me 3-4 months it might be better is only makes me feel so good, So
it's funny because I was laughing earlier because you perfectly described how I feel when I open Nokia Maps. You get in there usually through a mistake, and the UI is like, okay, now what do? I have this circle and the layers, and you do directions, and it's like, okay, this is not what I wanted. Get me out of here. Get me into Nokia Drive, please, because this thing also has driving instructions, and it's like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
And then the data, I will say, the data is way better, and I'm okay with the performance and all that. But yeah, I'm always confused when I enter this app, because I meant to either launch Nokia Drive or just do a search on the internet.
Right.
So that quite nicely moves into sort of one of the article that I wrote this week, which was sort of doing a direct comparison between the 8X and the Lumia 920. Now the reason we wrote this article was basically because I was getting a bit fed up of the fact that some of our community is resorting to a fanboy war between the two of them, and it's kind of disappointing because we've got enough crap being thrown at us from other ecosystems, other operating systems. We don't need to turn on each other in this sort of really petty way. So I wanted to say, look, at the end of the day, I have both devices in front of me. I was really lucky. Nokia gave me a free 920, and I picked up an 8X myself. And I wanted to sort of try and give a personal experience as to exactly what you're getting between the two different phones. I won't declare an ultimate winner. I declared, who I preferred, and the fact that these are two great devices that you should be choosing on their merits yourself. There is no one which is better. If you want the all-out spec winner, if you want all the best features and all the best sort of functionality, it's the Lumia 920. And if you want something which is subtly designed, is a really nice daily driver, and sounds great through headphones, then you want the HTC 8X. I prefer the aspect ratio on it as well. And it got some pretty good responses overall, but I just sort of wanted to say, if you're still unsure, we followed up the article again today with a little comparison. We did a video recording between the two of them of the Nokia DevMouse event, and you'll see there's also a stark difference in terms of the audio quality when you're in a loud environment like that. So there's more reason to make a decision as to which device is for you. But for goodness sake, don't have a go at somebody else who's enjoying that other device just because it's not the one that you choose. I was just
going to say, if you still can't decide, just go buy an iPhone. This is a tough problem, right? But this is the modern age we live in, where people identify their device with sort of as an extension of their personality, which is sort of the message that companies send anyway, right? And it's the whole message of Windows Phone 8, which is it's built around you kind of thing. So this notion that people are associating their identities with their device of purchase is the exact consequence of the times we live in. That's the message that's being sent. So I don't find it surprised that people do this, but I often email people in comments when they get a little ridiculous and a little abusive. I'm just kind of like, why are you doing this? And a lot of times people are nice. It's just this weird phenomenon on the internet where people can comment anonymously and they get like really aggressive towards each other because there's no immediate consequence. You would never say these things to people to their face in public, especially about a phone. I mean, come on. But in comments, it seems like everything is just a go. So, it's a good piece, and it really is. I love both phones. I think the 8X is just gorgeous, and I'm really glad HTC's got their mojo back. I prefer the 920 partly because I'm an idiot. I can't type well on these phones. This is why
he's an idiot, everybody.
Yeah, I still want like an actual keyboard. I still want an actual keyboard on these devices. I don't care. Every time I read it, Phil from Android Central, my buddy over there, got an 8X, and he's just like, Microsoft ain't kidding with this keyboard, like he thinks it's really good, Yeah. Anytime I use the keyboard, I'm like, I hate this stupid thing, and I want to toss it. And because of that, I need a 920 because it's a bigger screen. The 8X is just too small and cramped for me.
Although we should make a good point about keyboard. If you have the 920 in portrait mode, because you've got more space, you can see more at the top when you're typing because the keyboard takes up less of the physical real estate, which I love. Yeah,
so there's these little differences. So I sometimes use a 920. I use it because of that and the camera. Like I just need those two things, right? So, but I still find myself attracted to the 8X. I keep picking it up because it feels so good. So,
Yeah, I actually found that the 820 is a reasonable alternative to the 920. The 8X is gorgeous, of course, but if you're looking to stay on the Nokia side of things for all the apps and whatnot, the 820 is a great alternative to the heavy 920.
Yeah, I'm right. I get that 810 review. I've just been busy with other things. The 810 too on T-Mobile is really nice. The screen is ridiculous on it. I mean, it's this AMOLED type screen, and it just, God, it's like fluorescent. It just really, really pops out. And it's significantly lighter than a 920 in terms of weight. I mean, it really does feel like a lot different, but still good phone too. So.
And you could change the colors too.
Right.
I don't know where I was going with that.
I do like that because I actually quite like the fact that I've got sort of the blue and the white one here. Although I'm not as big a fan of the white as I wanted to be, but having the two different colors means I can change my opinion on the day-to-day basis. And I could see myself being one of the guys if I had an 820 that has a couple of different backs and would just sort of pop it out and change it every now and again.
If you can find the pieces, right?
Yeah, if you can find them. Speaking of which, actually, I'm going to skip over one of the things that we did have. I wanted to talk about the wireless charging stand review that you did, Dan.
No. Okay, here. I'll briefly touch on that. So we were going to talk about VLC and their Kickstarter. You've probably heard of it if you're a VLC user.
Go on, Rafael. Go nuts.
So don't waste your money. I'm telling you that right now because VLC has major legal issues here in the United States. These guys are based out of France. And right. let me rewind. Sorry, I got a little carried away there. So VLC is a media player that pretty much plays everything under the sun due to the fact it has a bunch of open source bundled decoders and whatnot. So your H.264, MPEG 2, 3, 4, whatever, it plays it. Now, the organization behind it is looking to port this to a Windows Phone 8 and Windows 8. Which is incredibly important on Surface because that thing can't play anything. When it comes to like DVD, movie content, etc. Sure. So they started a Kickstarter, which is this site where you say, "Hey, give me some money and I'll shower you with goodies if we fund this thing." But this company or individual or group of people, whatever, they operate out of France, and France doesn't have copyrights. They have something slightly different, and they don't have patents on software, so they can get away with not abiding by MPEG LA patent licensing. So they can do things like decode MPEG 4 without charging anyone. As opposed to Microsoft, who they just gutted MPEG 2 out of Windows 8 because they don't want to pay all those royalty fees. So I'm saying don't put your money into this because I don't see it happening on Windows 8 or Windows Phone 8. Windows Phone 8 mainly because it has GPL code, and GPL is not currently allowed in the marketplace. So I think that's out until they resolve that. And relicensing a code base is not something that's simple. On Windows 8, they support GPL, but the issue here is going to be how does Microsoft feel in taking liability for these patent licensing issues? They just gutted again these codecs from Windows 8 because of these patent royalties to then turn around and accept an app into their marketplace that isn't paying these royalties. I don't know. It sounds fishy.
Sure. It'd be really curious to see what happens with it because Microsoft does have a history sort of looking the other way on certain things, but that's
true, yeah.
But this is a touchy issue too, right? Where there's a lot of money. I mean, they're being sued,
right?
By was it Motorola over the MPEG streaming stuff?
Is it? I don't know which company it is, but I think the super best case here is that VLC is available in the market in the store to only the France. It's the only place that's been declared legal, and that's unfortunate. But
I donated, so I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that they'll find a way around it in the UK. Yeah, Fred. So for that simple reason, as was said, it's fantastic for Windows when it comes to trying to play back codecs that don't work, and the RT devices need that at the moment. So I was quite keen to see a decent UI, considering that the guys have never had a particularly impressive user interface, and that's what they claim it was for. But we'll see. I'm quite glad that But we've heard that from Rafael today. But at the same time,
I only
I'm
know
going to remain
fast.
cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, I only know so much about it because we try to use it at work for commercial reasons. And we ran into so many legal nightmares because their GPL and LGPL implementation is not as sound as they claim it is. So we had to abandon it. It was just too crazy. So I'm curious to see how Microsoft deals with this one. So stay tuned and maybe hold off on spending your money on Kickstarter. So
Interesting.
I always find Kickstarter stuff a little lame anyway.
Yeah,
I find Kickstarter is sort of like fund your dreams, like new Kickstarter unicorn project.
it's like Total Recall almost.
Well, if you give us, $500, we'll work on genetic. I don't know. I just find a lot of this stuff like we'll see what happens.
With a lot of stuff,
anyway.
this is the first thing I've ever particularly funded. So, sorry, I can't get past the idea that someone could probably get funding for a unicorn.
It's bound to happen, I'm telling you.
I might try that. Anyway, do you want to go on to this wireless charging stuff?
Yeah. So actually, there's two little items we can talk about just real quickly because we are running a little late here on the podcast.
Okay.
But so all the Nokia accessories are really nice. I got the JBL Power Up speaker, which is a $250 item, which I'm actually enjoying tremendously. And then there's the Nokia wireless charger stand as opposed to the pad, which a lot of people have already gotten. I like both things. Some people have said wireless charging is a gimmick, it's novelty, blah, blah, blah. It's not, at least not for me. I love wireless charging. I feel like an idiot having to plug in a phone now. And my phone stays charged all the time now because I'm actually kind of lazy. And this idea of like pulling out a plug, plugging in the phone every time I don't know. Now I have to put the phone down anyway at some point during the day. If I can just put it down on a pad that's automatically going to recharge it, I'm telling you, it actually does make life a little bit more simple and rational. Now, it's another question whether it's worth the money. That's up to people. I mean, it is a pricey item.
It is expensive.
The charger stand, I actually got for $60. But on the other hand, if it's something you're going to use every single day, it's not a bad investment. And so I actually really, really like it. And this has the NFC, which that I will admit is a little bit gimmicky at this point and doesn't work very well. It's a little bit slow. So I wouldn't buy it for this idea of the NFC launching an app kind of thing, but buy it because I love it. It just, my phone sits there, looks at me now, it's charging, my text comes in, I can see it. It's better than the pad, although I like the pad too,
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, a cheaper alternative is the pad, right? It's $20 cheaper.
Yeah. And so
but it's not
the
vertical.
pad is cool. It's just the pad, it's laying down, so you still have to, if a text comes in, I'm still grabbing the phone, as opposed to when I could see an alert now come in, like, oh, it's just the BBC with some weird thing, just swipe it away, So I really like it. I think Nokia has done a really good job with their accessories. They are entering clearly into the Apple territory in terms of pricing, but also quality. But they're going to, this is pricing themselves into a certain demographic of people who can afford to buy these things. A $250 small speaker is not chump change. But it's good. It's like Apple stuff where it's good, though. You get it, and you're like, this is actually kind of worth the money. It works well. It's beautiful. It looks like I can put it in my apartment or house, and it'll blend in. I'm okay with this, So
I was actually going to buy one. Paul Thurrott was telling me that it was $25 on AT&T, not the stand. Sorry, the pillow or whatever it is. What's frustrating though is that this thing is not available on Amazon. Not even in gray market. I don't want to buy this from AT&T. I just left AT&T. That's the last thing I want to do.
Yeah. Everything with Nokia is very hard to find now. I have had better luck finding stuff on eBay. So, but yeah, that's where I'm getting the JBL speaker and where I got the stand. So that's probably your best bet. But yeah, you're correct. Yeah, Amazon has them listed, but they're out of stock. So
I couldn't even find that.
I don't know why they're having such trouble getting their accessories out. It's not good, and this gets into the whole idea with general shortage anyway, like the 920. Now some people are saying, oh, they're purposely shorting, to make it look like it's selling well. They're not, honestly. It's stupid. The idea that if I went down to my AT&T store and like, I want a yellow 920. Sorry, you can't. It's a 3-week wait. That doesn't translate into awesome for Nokia. That translates to me going, all right, give me an iPhone 5.
Yeah, it's like screw Nokia, give me an iPhone. Yep.
So then the concept that they're purposely causing a shortage so they get better headlines is totally stupid. Yeah,
they're running out of yellow ink trees.
Yeah, bananas. It's the bananas that they're mixing.
Bananas.
You said that yellow Nokia Lumis are made out of bananas.
Yeah. Have you licked one? They taste delicious.
What the hell are the white ones made out of? Don't say coconuts.
Okay. Anyways, let's
Moving on. What else did you want to pick up on?
We got to really wrap this up here. I think we're getting a little bit long, but Microsoft Windows Phone headed to production. Yeah, so apparently this Microsoft Windows Phone is designed by Windows Phone, designed by Microsoft. Was going to be made in their secret factory where they're making the surfaces that Huawei is making. That is now given to Foxconn.
Yeah,
those are all the rumors. By the way, if you're following them, so some of that logically has to be false. So I don't know if you want to say Huawei isn't involved in this, Foxconn's not involved in this. There's no Microsoft secret factory in China.
I can confirm that one.
With the secret factory?
The secret factory, yes.
Yeah, supposedly the Surface is made there, right?
Yeah. What it probably, I don't know if this is confirmed or not, but it's probably just a room in the Foxconn facility that they bought out or something. Like, I don't think they seriously built a factory.
No way.
And they grew their own Chinese workers.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
It's like the Matrix.
Silly.
So yeah, so this rumor originated from DigiTimes, which, as Renee Ritchie from iMore has said, that they usually get like the broad facts right, but they get the specifics wrong. So there may be some truth. Yeah, so there may be some truth to this with Foxconn. Where does the Huawei rumor fit into this? I don't know, if at all. So,
for all we know, they could be testing both manufacturing chains and seeing which one produces a better output. Who knows?
Sure. Yeah. And we still don't know the details of this device. Some of the last rumors were that this was going to be for Asian markets, a cheaper entry-level phone. And the rumors gone from there all the way to the other end, which is this is like an Xbox phone. So,
oh God.
Yeah, it could be the little 7-inch device that's supposed to go with the new Xbox. We're living in a world of rumors, so there's not really anything we can report. It's just that Microsoft may be possibly making some device somewhere.
I'm confident that they do have a Windows Phone. I'm just not confident. I just don't know anything about it. But I'm very confident that this does exist. And but that's all I can say. I can't tell you what their plan is for it, if it's a backup plan, if it's part of their note, this is a third leg strategy that we are going forward with. I can't tell you if it's for, developing emerging markets. I don't know anything about it. I can just confirm that this thing does exist in some form or another. But that's it.
Cool. Should we go to comments from last time? So
yeah.
the
comments from last time, like a month ago.
Yes, the last time we did it was our special called 3 Screens in a Cloud, when we were, finally everything was released, and we thought we'd have a little walk through. In terms of comments, there's not an awful lot. People were saying they were still torn between the 8X and the 920. Hopefully, you're not anymore. That's from Overdose Dying. Mono says, cool. Thank you very much. Livy Dip says, the 3 Screens talk has been around for over 10 years. Phone, computer, and TV. With tablets now, isn't it 4 screens? Anyway, as long as I can still get by with 2 screens and no cloud, I'm happy. You've got a point, actually. Are we on 4 screens yet?
Not really. I don't know. Tablets are tablets. Honestly, like going back to this
They're
whole
smart screens.
Acer thing here. One downside, it literally feels like you took a laptop, cracked it in half, and just gave me the screen. It totally feels like that, which is why I don't really consider tablets to be a separate category, because it's literally like you just snapped off the top and like here. It's almost like a half category. So I don't know. It's just like that's just semantics, right? Now you're getting into form factors, but yeah.
Although things with like the Surface RT though, that really, pushes away from the computer per se. It's more of a device, but yeah. Well,
yeah, agreed. What else have we got? so I can't pronounce this. Natika says, I just thought of something after listening. Wouldn't it be nice if they made a volume rocker into zoom and zoom out? That'll fix Rich's complaint and work even more like a point and shoot and clean up that interface. I agree. That's a much better way of doing it, because pinch to zoom is a terrible idea. I don't know why they thought it was a good idea. The volume rocker is in a better place to do zoom in, zoom out. Microsoft.
In general, I'm not impressed with the Windows Phone 8 camera module. I don't like it.
It's been simplified, it's been oversimplified, and we've lost a lot, unfortunately.
And yet it's not. I think you still need more taps to do simple things. They could do better with this. They need to rethink it again. So.
Agreed. So, I know they were trying to move things to lenses, but it hasn't worked.
So quickly, my rebuttal on that would be: how would you turn down your music if you're in the camera app?
Do you need to? Okay. All right. Here's my thing. One tap of the Windows key, turn down your volume, press the back key.
Yeah. Okay.
Considering it's a less likely use of the volume key during that exact moment in time, I'd say.
I think they should just bring back the volume wheel.
Or even bring back the plus and minus keys on the screen. They were a better implementation.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That would be. I'd be happy with that.
Remember that ACC wheel with like a little spring wheel?
Yeah, the little classic wheel. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was kind of cool. I did kind of like that. All right, let's just go to comments if there are any.
There's one. I'm just going to give a quick shout out to Woods Guy from last time round. Thank you for writing such a long comment, and I'm very sorry that I don't have time to read it all out. But there's a lot of interesting stuff. So if you're interested, go back and read his comment. To the comments then. Do you want to pick up Matthew Titus's comment there? It's quite a good one.
I don't have the screen on.
Oh, okay. So he says, what would we all like to see in a Surface phone? What would make it stand out amongst Nokia or HTC's offering? I'd like to see a phone which isn't a polycarbonate or sort of plastic casing style. I'd like to see one which is sort of done with more metal. I'd see it done with sort of the Vapor Mag implementation that we've seen on the Surface. I think that would be quite a nice feel to it. And shocker, I'm someone who, I like the design of my phones, and I think it'd be really good to see, the premium feel of the Surface extended out to a phone. I think it would stand out and become sort of a clear favorite if they made a flagship device which, is thin and also actually has a decent amount of storage and has the micro SD expansion. I'd really like to see that, although I have a feeling it won't happen. I think that's.
Let's talk about the fact that people are calling it the Surface Phone. I am almost a little worried about this because the only reason people are calling it the Surface Phone is two reasons. One, hope that it really is a Surface Phone, and two, because of Microsoft's obviously their new strategy, which is they made an actual hardware computer called the Surface. So, they may be just calling it the Surface Phone because it's like, oh, Microsoft's making their own hardware. It's called the Surface Phone. But I'm not sure I want to set the stage in assuming that Surface, for me, implies a high-quality brand name flagship type device. And we don't know what this is it. This is going to be some low-cost entry-level device to really, win out in China. It's not the Surface Phone, right? So, so I don't know if I want to necessarily conflate the two. But it'd be stupid if they are making a Surface Phone. It has to absolutely match in the aesthetics of the Surface. So yeah, Vapor Mag is a must. It needs to be that thin metal, really sleek, and I guess a kickstand. I don't know. Should they do a little kickstand on the back too?
They could probably go over that a kickstand. A lot of people are saying that they would like a slide-out QWERTY keyboard though in our chat room, which I'd quite like to see that actually.
But here's the thing: I want one of those too. But they don't sell. So stop with the keyboard stuff. I hate to break the news, but we lost that battle. It's like the Civil War in the South. It's like, stop flying the flag. You lost. It's over. I want keyboards as much as the next guy. But when HTC comes out and says, we're not making them anymore, that's because no one makes money. It's just, everybody wants giant screens. And so you have to just bite your tongue and just deal with it. I know it sucks because I want that.
Get a Bluetooth keyboard.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, maybe I would actually love it if we got a little Surface Phone, which is quite literally a tiny Surface, and you could snap on a cover which was a flip-out touch keyboard, I mean, I don't think I'd ever use it, but I want to have it all the same.
It's so tiny.
Just incredibly tiny. Right? Can you imagine? It's like a little tiny flip-out keyboard and a little tiny kickstand on the back here. And it'd be like, right, I'm going to type out my little miniature memory. I mean, don't get me wrong. If it was a touch cover, you'd never.
Bad.
It is. It's crazy. It's crazy. And I'll tell you what, if it was a touch cover, you could
develop a little bit further. Let's take the idea and develop it further. There was a patent for Microsoft which had a slide out. I think it's probably what some people are referring to. It was like a slide out drawer for the phone where there was a keyboard, but that keyboard was it was a module that could pop out and you could put in a game controller into it too, and then use it as like a D-pad, double D-pad kind of thing.
That'd be awesome.
So it was this idea of a modular device that you could change based on something you want to do. I don't think you'll ever see it
point
happening.
Out that Judge Dan in the chat room did send that link through. Thank you. Carry on.
Yeah, but everybody knew about that. That came out like 2-3 years ago. I think it was on Engadget. I don't think you're going to see that device, but you could see something along the lines of what the Surface Phone is, right? That it is a magnetic sort of attachment that kind of clicks in and adds on like say D-pads for gaming or a mini keyboard. Why not? Something like that possibly could be done now, and it would be a more modern design as opposed to, I would say, the antiquated drawer sliding physical keyboard with a thing that pops out. So that would keep in line with if Microsoft is even making a Surface Phone, which for all we know, we're talking about unicorns here. So.
No, we're back to unicorns again, and that brings us full circle. Rafael, any thoughts on it?
I don't want to see one. There's nothing compelling that Microsoft would add to it that I would want. So
I know what you mean.
No.
I know exactly what you mean there. I don't think
I'm pretty happy with the current phone ecosystem. I know I'm boring. Sorry.
You heard it here first. Okay, I think that just about covers it up. I don't think we've got many other questions. Oh, there's one thing. Will Microsoft fix the Xbox video purchased content transfer to Windows Phone from big_do's? I don't know about that issue, but I think you mentioned it earlier, didn't you, Dan? I don't think we've got any.
It'd be stupid not to fix this, right? I mean, I don't think it's, once again, I don't think they planned this. They're like, you know, I think it is something that they need to fix and will fix. I can say I had problems with, like, I bought a video on Zune months ago before Xbox launched. It was Drive, one of my favorite movies, by the way. And so when I was switching over to Windows 8 and with their Xbox video, that wouldn't show up, or it would show up and I couldn't even download it. So there was that sort of issue. I can happily say now my new tablet that I just kicked on last night here, that Acer, all of a sudden Drive shows up now and I can download it and it's there. So things are starting to improve. And I think, I think they will totally fix this, and I think it will be a very good experience. It's just unfortunate that for a lot of people upgrading now, they're taking 2 steps back, 1 step forward, as opposed to just going forward. You know, and that's important for people who are considering upgrading right now. That it's universally agreed the media experience on Windows Phone 8 is not as good as it was previously. The sync clients are terrible, and the whole media experience is just awful. Okay, you can play stuff, but getting your media, managing it all with a 3 cloud system or 3 screens
doesn't work yet. But you know, Windows Media Player is a little blast in the past that does actually do a really good job of syncing up music to the Windows Phone. So if you just want to turn off Xbox Live music and on your cloud and just use Media Player, it works beautifully for everything that isn't DRM content. So give that a shot. That's really cool, actually. I was quite happy about that fact because my music's a mess after moving to Windows Phone 8. I'm only just starting to get around to fixing it all. Right, we probably better wrap it up there. Who wants to wrap up?
Not me.
Cool. Nope. Yes, that's me then. You can find us all on Twitter at WPCentral. You can find Dan at Daniel_Rubino. You can find George, our reviews editor, at Coppertop004. You can find Rich, our British editor, at Rich Edmonds, and myself at JAYT Bennett. That's 2 T's. You can find Paul at SegaCon, and Raphael, who in his mystical self is available at Within Raphael. At Rogue Code is Matt, and at Big_D5 is Dave, our awesome forums dude. And of course, you can also find Rob at GroovePoint. This has been a Mobile Nations podcast. Please go to mobilenations.com for more great shows covering everything mobile, or head over to the WP Central forums on the app or on the site if you'd like to get involved with our community in discussing more about Windows Phone news, device, and apps. Thanks to the Windows Phone Central store for sponsoring the podcast, and thanks also to the artists at ccmixter.org for offering a great database of Creative Commons music. And you can find more information about that and plenty more stuff at the bottom of the post that this podcast will be attached to. That's all from me.
Okay. Thanks everybody for joining us, and hopefully we'll be back in another week or two. We'll try to make this a little bit more regular again, but that's Jay. And thanks Rafael for showing up. We haven't heard from you for a while, but it's great having you here. So thanks everybody, and take care.
All right, see ya.